Usually during the introduction for each episode, we talk about reviews for each film. In this case, there really weren't that many. On this episode of Ruined Childhoods, we decide the fate of One Crazy Summer.
Sequel. Reboot. Which one will it be? It's the Ruined Childhoods podcast.
Greetings, Starfighters! Hey, welcome to Ruined Childhoods. I'm Dan.
Hey, Dan, how's it going?
It's going all right. It's going all right here. And by you?
Oh, things are good. You know, we've had some issues. Dan, you are the father to a freshly born baby, so sometimes we can't record as quickly as we want to be able to. And you know what? That's just the way it goes.
And we'll just pretend that it has more to do with the 3-month-old than the 8-year-old that I've also fathered.
Shots fired.
Who's sometimes less predictable.
Hey, I get it. But I guess it's turning out to be kind of a crazy summer for you, huh?
It is indeed one crazy summer here. Not the kind that will end in a regatta, unfortunately.
You know, I saw something recently. A friend of mine who lives in the UK posted pictures on Instagram of a regatta, and I was like, hey, what crazy summer.
And in that picture of the regatta, was there one ship that is clearly like not of the level of the others, not of the budget of the others, but yet has the willpower to make it through, a la Summer Rental? Or One Crazy Summer.
Now that you mention it. So yeah, let's talk about One Crazy Summer. I feel like we said our piece about Mrs. Doubtfire, and I will love that movie and defend it till the end of days. And now we can move on.
It's kind of how I feel about the movie End of Days, although no.
So Dan, should I just go ahead and launch into a synopsis?
Yeah, go. Yeah,
okay.
Just go for it, and then we'll do the background and we'll everything else we need to do.
High school graduate Hoops joins his buddy George on a summer trip to his family's house on Nantucket so he can focus on finishing his animation piece about love for his college admission. The only problem? Hoops has never been in love. George and his Nantucket pals, the Stork twins, and Ak encourage Hoops to go after Nantucket's hottest babe, Cookie, who seems to take a shine to him. But it's clear that Hoops has a bone with...
What are you laughing at? Because I was laughing at take a shining to? Like reading, like communicate. You mean take a shine to?
That's what I said, take a shine to.
You said shining. Like they're telepathically communicating.
No. He's got the shine.
Yeah.
No, I think that my autocorrect has done some funky things on here. So if I did say shining, I'm going to...
That adds a really interesting twist.
I'm going to try to figure out what I meant to write here.
Cookie is not that interesting of a character.
No, she isn't. She certainly isn't.
She doesn't have the shine.
But it's clear that Hoops has a something with Cassandra.
A bone. Well, we were
something
going into
autocorrected to bone.
A bone to pick?
No, he doesn't.
No, he has a
vibe. Let's go with vibe.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. They, I mean, well, go ahead.
This is all staying in, by the way.
You're mid synopsis. I don't want to.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, but it's clear that Hoops has a vibe with Cassandra, a local musician who is fighting for the ability to buy out her deceased grandmother's boarding house before the Beckersteads can swoop in and convert it to a lobster restaurant. Not to mention that Teddy Beckerstead, the short-tempered heir of the Beckerstead fortune, is Cookie's boyfriend. But despite Hoops' efforts to help Cassandra raise the money for the mortgage, the deed still goes to the Beckersteads. But that's when Ak comes up with a plan to force the Beckerstead's hand in a lesson of pride. They decide to fix up an old boat and compete against Teddy in the annual regatta. And if they win, they could trade the trophy for the deed. But what becomes clear is that the key to winning a regatta is the friendship and trust that brings these teens together.
Friendship!
Okay, so this is directed by Savage Steve Holland, the second of the John Cusack Savage Steve Holland movies. Better Off Dead being the first of the two. And John Cusack plays Hoops McCann. Demi Moore is Cassandra. We have Curtis Armstrong as Ak. The Stork twins are played by Bobcat Goldthwait and Tom Villard. And Tom Villard, what have we seen him in that we've covered on the show?
Tom Villard also appeared in. Oh, I need to go to the internet. I forgot. Grease 2.
Oh,
Grease
wow.
2.
That's where it was. That's so funny. He was also in Shakes the Clown. Did we cover Shakes the Clown?
We have not covered Shakes the Clown.
I think that Shakes the Clown came up when we were talking about Quick Change, but maybe that's it. Okay,
Probably.
so Tom Villard. And as
he's in My
George...
Girl.
What's up?
He's also in My Girl.
Oh, My Girl. That's right. He's in My Girl. Yeah, he's in My Girl.
The original.
Yeah, he's one of the people in the poetry class, like kind of the hippie guy.
Oh, yes.
And we have Joel Murray as George Calamari. And it never occurred to me that we're seeing a Murray brother playing a teenager. Also, never has anyone questioned the fact that for some reason there's this kid from like the Nantucket or New England area who mysteriously has a Chicago accent. That's just something that we all accepted in 1986, I guess.
I mean, look, when you're going into this movie, you have to be prepared to expect to really like let go. You have to disregard your disbelief. Suspend your disbelief.
Suspend your disbelief. Yeah.
Yeah. You really
we are
have to,
all over the place today.
We really are. You have to have a bone with your disbelief.
A bone. Yeah.
Yeah,
we've also got balding Jeremy Piven as Ty.
When was Jeremy Piven not balding Jeremy Piven? I say this with all due respect
hair plugs.
A bald man myself. So,
well, I'd say, but this is supposed to potentially be like a teen.
Although I guess that was a question I had for you, because I got the impression that Teddy and his crew were like of college age. Maybe it's like the frat business.
20 or 21.
Yeah. No. I mean, I don't think they're in grad school, but like they seem to be a bit more. I don't want to say they seem collegiate because they don't, but they seem like frat boys.
They do. And big ups to Matt Mulhern, who plays Teddy Beckerstead. You know, whenever I've watched this movie in the past, I've always thought of him as just like, it's, you know, the William Zabka type.
Yeah.
He's blonde and whatever. But he does something very different, and it's so funny the way he plays this character. It's so comical and cartoonish, which plays well into Savage Steve Holland's, you know, vibe or bone, if you will.
He throws in, it's like he's dumber than a William Zabka character. He throws in this little buffoonishness to the performance.
Well, he really nails the like spoiled white, you know, heir to a fortune, like, I don't know, part of this family that is emotionally and sometimes physically abusive. And it definitely has a really strange, I don't know, feeling to it that he gives, that Matt Mulhern gives. And it's, I don't know, really impressive. And also Mark Metcalf, who plays his father, is such a good asshole.
Well, he's like, I don't want to say he's the original asshole, but Mark Metcalf played Niedermeyer in National Lampoon's Animal House.
Yeah.
So like whenever when the dean needed something dirty and dastardly to be done, put Niedermeyer on it. He's a sneaky little shit.
Yeah. And then William Hickey as the
Grandpa
Teddy's grandfather.
Yeah, Grandpa Beckerstead, who William Hickey's just great.
He's fantastic. Well, I was going to say nobody smokes a cigar like that man, but I'd say that the person who he probably most is to be confused with, George Burns, certainly does one-ups him in that department. But if you think about, William Hickey, especially in like Christmas Vacation, it's like notable cigar smoking scenes in both of these movies. So
he definitely, the William Hickey performance.
And to think that Christmas Vacation came after this, it's maybe they saw him in this and just like, we want him to do that, but in a Christmas movie.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe, but we love William Hickey.
Sure.
Pour one out, but
I mean, I'm not even going to question that one.
Yeah. No, we're pretty safe saying it.
1997, he passed away.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So, I think his last thing was, it might have been Forget Paris. I remember him as...
Oh, he was, he was in Prizzy's Honor, but he was also in Nightmare Before Christmas. He was Dr. Finkelstein.
Yeah. I mean, My Blue Heaven.
My Blue Heaven, of course. The pet shop owner.
Rat. But I said it better. Just that distinct voice. But Prizzy's Honor. Damn, that's a great movie.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of classics in here. Lots of classics in his filmography. Mikey, Nicky.
I think Forget Paris, where he was I forget if he played Deborah Winger's like father or grandfather or Billy Crystal's, but
his character was Arthur. I could see him more as a Deborah Winger. I don't know.
I just remember they had him in the car and he kept like reading. He would just read all the road signs.
Okay.
Going, man, Denny's.
So it's a really fun cast. It also brings Curtis Armstrong back into the Savage Steve Holland fold as Ak-Ak, playing
a very different type of role.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kind of a pushover, an ideasman.
Although that's the one that I'm like, that's the one that I think even as a kid, I was like, are we supposed to believe he's like, is he's playing like 14 in this? Like, are we supposed to believe that?
Curtis Armstrong came out of the womb with a 5 o'clock shadow.
I mean, like, but it's like, I don't think Moonlighting was on TV yet at that point, but like Curtis Armstrong had already been in movie college in Revenge of the Nerds and played a much more mature acting or looking teen in Risky Business. So in this, he plays like Joe Flaherty's son, and they're probably like the same age.
Probably not too far off,
but it's the type of thing where you think about it, you're like,
he has a youthful spirit. We never questioned this when we were kids. He has a very youthful spirit, and he also plays a very admirable character. He has a good heart, and that's something that like Curtis Armstrong was not known to be playing. We have Bobcat Goldthwait as Egg Stork, who is doing his, at the time, Bobcat Goldthwait thing. And I was just watching a trailer from One Crazy Summer, and it's Bobcat Goldthwait kind of talking you through the movie. And he's like, I was in this movie with John Cusack, Demi Moore, like doing that whole thing. And he's like talking about
it's
the
really,
movie.
really funny. You should go and see it.
Yeah. And it actually like starts off with him doing like a voice of like is it Warner Brothers that this movie is?
Yeah.
Of like a Warner Brothers thing. And it's like all wild and stuff. And it's so funny because like this movie, it utilizes the actors and the specific things that they're good at. And it's almost like it's built around that because you have John Cusack in that classic like 80s John Cusack vibe, the like Lloyd Dobler, John Cusack, like, puppy dog eyed, like
kind of lovable
sweetheart.
loser, but
Yeah.
like he's not without his skills or talent, much like, Better Off Dead. Like he was still a good skier.
Yeah.
He was still a really good skier. And in this, like, he's a really great artist, and draws these like, really cute cartoons.
Yeah. And then you also have Demi Moore, who was just in like St. Elmo's Fire and like Blame It on Rio. Like there wasn't too much Demi Moore before this.
Like About Last Night.
And I am so glad that Demi Moore did this movie, because if like anytime after this, she would never have been in a movie like this.
It's such an interesting blip on her resume, where like in between all of the, like Indecent Proposals and G.I. Janes, and
Ghost,
A Few Good Men,
Nothing But Trouble.
Nothing. Yeah, I guess Nothing But Trouble is the other one. What did Warner Brothers have on Demi Moore?
That is a great question. That is a really solid question.
They were like, let's see, who's a reputable actress who wouldn't be caught dead in a movie like this that we could get in a movie like this? And they're like, well, we've got the Demi Moore file.
You know what she was in early on that I've never seen that I wanted to see is Young Doctors in Love, the Gary Marshall like parody movie.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. I've never seen it though.
Sean Young, Michael McKean. It's got Harry Dean Stanton, Dabney Coleman, Taylor Negron, who also makes an appearance
in One Crazy Summer, and also in Nothing But Trouble.
Taylor
Negron. Yeah. And you also have in this. So I'm sorry, this is really interesting. Sorry to interrupt you here, but so you also have, because I was going to ask you if you think that like they just told Bobcat Goldthwait like just do what you've been doing in Police Academy,
right?
Just do that. And you also have Billy Bird, who appeared in Police Academy 4 as Mrs. Feldman.
5, I believe.
And 6. She's in 6 as a different 5 they're in character. Miami. Yeah. But
was she a different character in 6?
She was a different character in 6.
Oh man, what are you doing to us, Police Academy?
I don't know. We have her signed for this, but I don't know. Mrs. Feldman
strikes again.
Like, yeah, no, she's like wealthy, and it's interesting. You know what? Except I wonder maybe if it's supposed to be her character remarried. Sorry, we're digging in way too deep to Police Academy 6 right now. So, to get us back on target here. Oh, you got Rich Hall, comedian Rich Hall, who has been touring with Bobcat Goldthwait recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Rich Hall, who's the other gas station attendant.
And speaking of people named Rich, we have Rich Little as the radio DJ.
Rich Little, yeah. Which, man, another great device of this. So this movie has a lot of like signs of the time in it, and one of them is the radio call-in contest,
right?
Which is what what's his
Uncle
face,
Frank.
George's uncle Frank has been waiting to win this like $1 million call-in contest. And
yeah,
I know that they do still have like radio call-in things, but it's not what it once was.
No.
So, did you ever win any radio call-in contests, John?
No, I never did.
No?
Did you? You did.
A few times, yeah.
Yeah.
Tickets to see a preview screening of Lethal Weapon 3 in New York. I think it was sold as like the New York premiere of Lethal Weapon 3, but it wasn't like,
it's really just a normal test screening or something.
The cast was not there. There were a couple of people from the Z100 Z Morning Zoo that were there. So,
right.
So there was that. I won tickets. I won concert tickets once, and like saw the Strokes.
Okay.
With concert tickets. I won my first DVD player
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, and it was I had to go into New York City to the WPLJ headquarters.
Wow.
At One Penn Plaza to get my big DVD player, which came with a free copy of Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.
Not bad.
A coupon to get, because this was fall 1999, and it had a coupon to get a free, you'd send it in, you get a free copy of The Spy Who Shagged Me. On DVD, and it also came with like a free trial like membership for this new thing that you could do where you'd go on to a website and you'd choose your movies and they would send you the DVDs in the mail. And you'd get them in the mail, and then there was no time limit. You'd send them back whenever, no fee, and it came with an envelope. You just sent it right back, and they had all these movies that you couldn't get at Blockbuster. So it was amazing, and it was Netflix.
Man, I remember those days. I know I still have some Netflix DVDs that I never returned.
I was Netflix and chilling before that was a thing, and it wasn't the thing I was doing when I was doing it. But, but yes, back when Netflix was DVDs, and
I think that the movie from Netflix that I never returned was Defending Your Life.
Oh, okay. Well, if you have to
come at me, Netflix, I've given you plenty of money over the years. Don't worry.
I actually remember the first movies I rented from Netflix.
Ooh, what were they?
It was the Radiohead documentary "Meeting People Is Easy," and Stanley Kubrick. I'm pretty sure it was the Killing, Stanley Kubrick's. Okay. Not his first movie. It might have been Killer's Kiss, which was his kind of first,
like
major. That wasn't his first. Yeah, I think The Killing was like his first major movie, great noir flick, and that it was like one of the only Kubricks that I couldn't track down at Blockbuster.
Got it. Okay.
So anyway, but radio call-in contests. And there were definitely people who would sit by their radio and they'd wait for
obsessively,
when you hear when you hear Julian Lennon announce the call letters of the radio station, be the 101st caller to win $101 million.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Always something like that. So I enjoy that.
Julian Lennon.
So, I don't know. I was like, who's the right person to come to mind here? When Bryan Adams announces the call.
Who's available?
Yeah.
I don't know, Julian Lennon?
Sure, why not?
Well, Dan, going back to One Crazy Summer, which I know we didn't really veer off of because we're talking about Uncle Frank and the call-in contest, but what are some of the things that you remember most about this movie? Like when you're rewatching it, where you're just like, oh my God, I remember this scene syllable for syllable.
Oh, wow, that's a great question. Syllable for syllable, I don't know, but there are definitely moments and images that I'm like, oh, I know they're coming. When George is buried in the sand and has the chair over him, and the guy comes over and is like eating the chili and he's listening to Down on the Corner. By the way, this movie's got an awesome soundtrack.
The soundtrack is absolutely bananas.
Your rhythmics are in their great sequence to Would I Lie to You. What else?
I love Would I Lie to You.
Oh, great use in this movie. What else do I remember? The scene where they do like the basketball challenge and they have Akak as the hoop, and it's what does she say? Oh, but I do know that it was the name of the company that makes mace. And
right. Yeah.
So there's that. There's definite lines like I'm doing my laps.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Teddy losing his mind.
Like Teddy losing his mind. William Hickey at the end going, "Friendship, that's the real investment." Like I remember lines vaguely.
It's Burgess Meredith plus George Burns, I guess, is William Hickey.
Sure, why not? Yeah, that makes sense. Oh man, Burgess Meredith would have been great.
I hope that the three of them are like making like a movie together in heaven.
Oh man, God, I would watch that. I would subscribe to Afterlife Netflix for.
That's a great idea. Like after you die, you should do that.
Create Afterlife Netflix.
Yeah.
What is it, like the Psychic Movies Network?
Listen, Dan, I don't know. I'm not the guy who comes up with the how-to. I'm the guy that comes up with the you should do this.
Yeah. You're just the guy who says you should do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be fun. Oh man, the three of them. Just the three of them smoking cigars and cackling and like making dirty jokes. It would just be the outtakes from like Grumpy Old Men, but with the three of them.
Yeah.
And it would be, and wow, now I just want to watch that. I'm pissed that it doesn't exist.
Yeah, and it's really funny because, when I think about growing up and watching movies like One Crazy Summer, and, I think about like my daughter who watches movies, and for her, she likes movies best where there's a young female character she can identify with. And certainly kids want to see movies with other kids like them in it. And that's not a hard and fast rule. I'm sure there are a lot of exceptions. But this is a movie where, like, I remember William Hickey's role just as much as I remember, Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like what we gravitated to as kids. And it was also like we didn't have all the choices. Like we couldn't go through all the streaming services and say,
no, of course. Yeah.
Hey Siri, show me streaming options with strong female leads.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, Siri is actually responding to me now. So it was, it was really just like we saw One Crazy Summer a lot because it was on HBO a lot. Anyway, I'm just going back to the scenes that we remember really well. Bobcat telling the story about like the kid that he used to pick on.
Yeah. I used to beat him up.
Yeah. Ak-ak,
like, hey, why are you so fat?
Ak-ak, collecting shells on the beach.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of those like just scenes that were there any that you just remembered word for word?
I think that there's like certain moments and that like really that like I think about that are like in my head all of the time. And one of them, and this one is just, it's the way that Bobcat Goldthwait does this line read, but it's when he goes to so when they're on Nantucket, there's a movie that's being filmed about a dolphin with rabies, which is fantastic. And the Stork twins somehow have these like jobs where they're just watching the prop truck at night. It's like the wardrobe and prop truck at night or something.
Yeah.
And Egg, Bobcat Goldthwait's character, goes to the truck and he's on his little like moped or whatever, and he goes up to Clay, his brother, and he goes, Dad needs you back at the gas station. And the way he says like gas station, like has always stuck out in my head. And it's just the way that like Bob, like I can't replicate it. I just absolutely can't. But like at a gas station, like it just comes out in this one very specific way. And yeah, I think about that all the time.
Why don't we ever meet their father?
I'd love to meet their father. Maybe we'll get back to that later.
1986. Who would I know maybe we're putting the cart before the horse here, but 1986, who would you cast as the Stork twins' father?
Ooh, that is interesting. My first thought is James Cromwell. Now, I think that it, and hey, this is a Curtis Armstrong link too, but like,
Yeah.
I think that it's a Revenge of the Nerds. It's he plays Lewis's father, but I'm thinking about somebody who can have like the same characteristics as Clay, who's like tall and skinny,
Right.
but who can clearly like dope it up the way that like Egg is. And I don't know. I think that would be, and also somebody who's like age appropriate for that time.
Right. Yeah.
Because I think that like other actors who would be age appropriate in that time, the ones that I think of are more like, leading man territory.
Yeah, like Rodney Dangerfield was someone who came to mind, but like
Rodney Dangerfield, I don't know if he can be sloppy enough to do that, because even when he's like, dumbed down, he's still like put together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean sloppy. Well, I think the sloppiness he could. I think of him in Natural Born Killers.
Oh well, yeah, that's a very different Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, but also just like that's. But I think that Rodney Dangerfield, especially in '86, when Back to School is out, is too big of a star. I think James Cromwell is that right level, and you're going for the same kind of audience here. So James
86.
Cromwell
Yeah.
Who else? Like Harry Dean Stanton?
I mean, I could see Harry Dean Stanton owning a garage and gas station.
But not one where there's like theft and murder happening. Just a regular old
I mean,
gas
Harry
station.
Dean.
It would have been interesting to see Harry Dean Stanton, because it's not like he never did comedy, but it would be fun to see Harry Dean Stanton play the father of these two people, or like, and then I don't like their mother. Who would you cast?
It's tough because my view of my 1986 brain. I was 3 years old, and all people that were taller than I was were adults.
Right.
And so it's kind of difficult to think about people that would fit into that role, because if I'm thinking about people who were like adults at that time, they're probably not too much older than like Bobcat Goldthwait was.
Right.
So
what about like a Phyllis Diller? Like just throwing someone like that into the mix.
Yeah, or like a Florence Henderson, like
Florence Henderson, Cloris Leachman.
Oh, a Cloris Leachman could totally be the Stork mother.
I mean, Cloris Leachman, so versatile and
Yeah.
could do just about anything. So anyway,
Yeah. This is not a but anyway. This is what we're talking about.
Yes, yes.
I'm still like on the father track, because I feel like there's like my brain is like really just being opened up to the options that are out there.
I'm trying to think of people from TV, and I'm thinking of like a Jonathan Winters.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's too. It's not interesting to me. James Cromwell is more interesting. But like just thinking about different, because I feel like TV would have been.
What about like Norman Fell? I could see him.
That would have been. I would have gone for that.
Or I would have put Norman Fell in the Joe Flaherty role and put Joe Flaherty in the Stork father role.
Oh, yes.
Because I could totally see Joe Flaherty doing that. Also, he's like 3 years older than them, like tops.
Well, it's the same thing with Curtis Armstrong. So.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, but I feel like that age difference would make more sense with the Stork twins.
That's true. I'm wondering. Okay, Joe Flaherty was born in 1941. Curtis Armstrong
51?
was born in 53.
Oh, I was totally guessing with the 51 there. 53.
Yeah.
So not a huge age difference.
Not a huge age difference there.
No.
But they really aged down Curtis Armstrong.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he shaved.
He did the bare minimum. Yeah, this is one of those movies where, the plot itself is shaky. I mean, it's a very classic, like, we have to save the blank type of thing. And you have John Cusack playing what I'm assuming is like a role that's based slightly on Savage Steve Holland, who has this like animation background. And, it's like, oh, this animator, it starts off where it's like this animator has to do a cartoon about finding love. And it's really just it's the MacGuffin. It's the thing that gets him into Nantucket, and then all the plot stuff happens. But and you see it come back here and there, the cute and fuzzy bunnies and all that kind of stuff. But it's the Savage Steve Holland kind of like mark on it, where there's some sort of animation as part of it. And it's fun, and it works for this movie. This movie has a very distinct personality, similarly to, Better Off Dead, where you have like the $2 thing going on. I feel like One Crazy Summer is different enough from, Better Off Dead. I don't know why I blanked on the name of the movie I just said a second ago. Of Better Off Dead, it kind of has its own identity while still being like feeling like it's part of this family. Yeah. And I think that a lot of that credit just goes to the cast. I mean, clearly being in Nantucket is a different feel when as opposed to like somewhere where there's skiing involved. But you still have the like, John Cusack's character being an illustrator,
but also this like kind of not even a wannabe athlete thing, because it's not like he even wants to be an athlete. And there's story here that really doesn't get explored. I guess his mother wanting him to be like a basketball player.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is it ever explained if Hoops is his given name?
Yes. I think he explains that that's not his.
See, I don't even remember that, but it's like all people ever call him is either Hoops or McCann. And, once he gets to Nantucket, he makes a name for himself pretty quickly around town. Everybody knows who he is.
Oh, yeah.
Ty sees him at the drive and he's like, it's Cookie, and she's with McCann. And it's like, how do you know who this guy is?
Like they've been going to school together forever.
Yeah, no, not even close.
Yeah, is that George McFly?
Yeah, totally. So also, I got to say, this is one of those, like, I love seeing movies and like keeping a list in my head of movies that take place at drive-in theaters. And this one has such a great drive-in theater scene. I just love it. So
yes. Yeah.
Big fan of that.
Great drive-in theater scene.
Yeah, I don't know. I really feel like this movie kind of just like goes under the radar, but and for so many people like just haven't heard of it. And it's like, if you just want to watch something that you don't have to think during, put this on, because like the less thinking you do, the better. You're going to just realize like, what is happening? Why are they doing this now? Oh, they just wanted to have a scene where there's a boat regatta. So they're going to make it happen.
Gotta have a regatta.
Have a regatta.
That and the scene where Bobcat Goldthwait is in the monster outfit.
My God, the like Godzilla outfit, and he's stomping all over the model of the city.
The setup to this is fantastic. From him like sneaking into not being able to get out of the suit, and then being in the bushes when William Hickey throws the cigar and it lands in his mouth. So now he's got smoke pouring out of his mouth, and he starts walking in this panic, just starts stomping all over the Beckerstead Estates model and are we to assume Japanese bank officer who like gets a kick out of it all.
It's real. That's probably the most well thought out part of this movie.
That's very well orchestrated. That okay, there's that. And here's a character we haven't talked about, Squid.
Squid, George's sister, Squid Calamari.
Squid Calamari, who has this dog who, like, I think the only thing really wrong with the dog is the dog's got one of those cones over its head, so it won't, like,
It's got, like, a bandage on its ear or something.
It's got a bandage on its ear. It's got a cone around its head, so, like, it won't lick its balls or whatever. And, but everyone just makes fun of this dog. I love the whole thing with the crossing guard, who you might recognize as Ricky's mom from Better Off Dead.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I was like, I know that voice sounds familiar.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing with if someone slaps you, is that something you've ever heard of outside of the context of this movie? Where if you're making a silly face to make fun of someone and you get slapped on the back while you're making it, your face will freeze that way.
There's always that. It's like, if you make that face too long and it's going to stick.
But like the whole setup with that, and then the two girls with the frozen faces are on the ferry.
Dog from space.
Yeah. But Squid is just so, like, she doesn't say anything, but she just gets her revenge.
Oh, yeah.
And especially after...
And then those girls come back in the movie and their faces are still all messed up. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. And she does the thing with Taylor Negron and Rich Hall where she closes their ties into the window.
Where their ties just so conveniently go inside of the car.
But it builds up. It builds up to the end when she helps them... when she
help is on the way.
Yeah. Squid is on the way, man. No, when Squid gets because what's his face falls into the Mr. Beckerstead, Teddy's dad.
Yeah.
Is knocked off into the water, and
he's trying to shoot a crossbow at their sail.
Yeah.
And Squid inside the dolphin with rabies tips the boat so that he misses and he falls into the water and just saves the day. Squid's so wonderful. She's fantastic. What a great character.
Oh yeah.
I hope she's well.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know much of what that actress has done since.
She's fantastic. I really appreciate her, and I wish her well. That's all.
Absolutely.
I hope she hasn't done anything terrible when I look her up in a minute.
Yeah. No, I hope she's alive and well, and
I hope that her Wikipedia page doesn't have a controversy section.
Oh no. Oh no.
I do the controversy section check a lot.
Yeah, I bet.
Kristen Goelz, Goelz. Let's see. Has she done anything? Oh, wow. She was in One Crazy Summer, and then one episode of the show, The New Adventures of Beans Baxter.
Oh, okay.
Wow. You're the only person to ever say, oh, okay, to The New Adventures of Beans Baxter, starring Jonathan Ward and Jerry Wasserman.
Well, I figured I could just say what everybody else is thinking is like, what is that? I've never heard of it. But I'm just saying, no, okay, that's good. I'm glad she, got some work after this.
Yeah. She has a Turner Classic Movies page, but I think it's just for One Crazy Summer.
Well, of course. It's a Turner Classic movie.
Okay. Ooh, this is definitely her. Senior Vice President, Client Partner at Evoke in New York. And I'm looking at the picture, and that's definitely her.
Oh, that's definitely her. Yeah, but that's great.
She looks like she's thriving.
Yeah.
She was endorsed by somebody named Kimberly Price on LinkedIn for something. Good for her.
Well, you got the Kimberly Price endorsement. That's like the seal of approval.
Absolutely. Just so proud of her. Yeah. So she goes by Chrissy now, and very happy for her.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. That's always a relief when that's how it turns out.
Yeah, Evoke, which is an advertising service, and their, tagline is "Health More Human." Gotta appreciate that. That's just what I'm saying about what I'm reading on LinkedIn.
That's wonderful. Excellent. Too bad we couldn't get her to come on as a guest.
Well, we didn't think to reach out. So
no, not at all. Not until this moment.
Not until this very moment.
No.
We're witnessing it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of those, early John Cusack, Jeremy Piven, 1-2 punches.
This was the first.
Was this maybe the beginning of their friendship?
No, they had been roommates previously, and I think John Cusack studied at the acting school where Jeremy Piven's parents ran in Chicago.
Ah, the Pivens Institute.
Yes.
The Piven Institute.
Yep.
The Piv Institute.
The Pivens. Yeah, you got there. You got there in 3. Good job. Nice.
That's my Wordle score.
Yeah, Piv Institute.
Got it in 3.
Jeremy Piven's, of course, his old Jeremy.
I think that we
Piven's
both
also
just added an S to the end of his name. It's just Jeremy Piven.
Yeah, no, yeah. No, it's not Jeremy Piven's. I swear it's Jeremy Piven's. Mandela effect.
Yeah. I would love it if there was a Jeremy Piven thing that was part of the Mandela effect. Like, no, he always had thick hair. I remember a time when he had really thin hair. No, look back. It's always been there.
I swear, I remember, if you go back to the first season of Entourage, in the credits,
God, I remember
it says
PCU.
Pivens. Yeah.
It says Pivens.
It says Pivens. It's in the first season. I listened to a podcast interview with someone once. I had to shut it off because they were talking about the Berenstein Bears and how, and how, like, no, it wasn't spelled Stain. It was, yes, no, it has always been spelled that way. And your mind just filled in an E because it's more natural there.
Yeah.
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 There's no Mandela effect thing. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's talk about Cassandra for a second.
Oh yeah. Oh, have we not
She's
talked about, like, arguably I guess John Cusack, arguably the biggest star in the movie, but
at the time, yeah. I mean, Demi Moore, I'd say, like, she commits to this role. I love the song "Don't Look Back" that she sings with her band at that bar.
So great.
When we meet her, she's, gotten some money out of some bikers who are chasing after her, who, if Bobcat Goldthwait wasn't Egg Stork, would have been would Stain, the main person in this gang.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know, like, she has this kind of, like, grungy hippie vibe to her. But she's also then still, like, a Nantucketer at heart.
A Nantucketer at heart, and her music is very 80s, like, synth pop. So the grungy, folky vibe is really just...
Yeah. I think that, the look, I think, was off for the style of music, but it made sense for the type of person that Hoops would have been attracted to.
She's got to be the counter Cookie. She's the anti-Cookie.
Yeah, because Cookie is, blonde. She shows off her body, whereas Cassandra wears, like, loose clothing and has, like, weird braids in her hair that typically wouldn't be there. It's not super, I don't know, well kempt. And she's kind of grungy in that way.
She hitchhikes.
She's kind of a badass. One of the things that I found peculiar in my last watch is that, and I forget exactly why it happens, but they pick her up on the way to Nantucket and, like, save her from these biker guys. And then she's, like, instantly just, like, buddies with them all. Like, instantly, George, who's, like, driving the car, like, does or says something, and she, like, they all kind of, like, go, like, George, and just kind of, like, hit at him, and she does it too. And I'm just like, okay, she's already that comfortable with them to do all that. So that's great.
Well, she and Hoops have some bonding time on the. They all bond on the ferry.
Right.
Yeah.
I think this was pre-ferry though. Anyway.
Maybe.
Anyway.
Oh yeah. No, I think I know. I think I.
It's like right when they get in the car.
Because he like does the jump onto the ferry like in the car like.
I think it's before that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a fascinating movie.
Well, I guess
I love the boat repair montage.
The boat repair montage is fantastic. But wait, hold on a second. So do we think that maybe if Cassandra and George both, if not grew up on Nantucket, like spent a lot of time on Nantucket at their grandparents' places, that maybe they did know each other?
Well, Dan, I once knew a man from Nantucket. Never mind. Maybe, but they never say that.
Well, also, like, it wasn't until this most recent viewing that I realized that, she probably, like, I didn't think that she lived there. I thought that, like, she came back.
That's what I was thinking too, yeah, to save her grandmother's house.
Or grandfather, right? Is there a grandfather?
I don't remember.
I
thought it was grandmother. Anyway.
Yeah.
Somebody who just died. A grandparent who died.
Yes.
And I think it was like a boarding house. It was like a house where people could stay
for old folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the boarding home for seniors.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's
grandfathers. Okay.
Grandfathers. I'm so sorry I mischaracterized the experience of Cassandra Eldridge.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a whole alternate timeline now.
Ooh, One Crazy Summer into the Summerverse.
In the multiverse, the Savage.
The multiverse of Summer.
Savage Steve Holland verse.
I'd be down to get involved in that multiverse.
Well, you know what though, that it kind of brings us to the what would you do here?
What would you do?
Well, what would I do is, and I'm just gonna say, Steve Holland from here on. All right. He's kind of moved on. Like he's not making films anymore. We talked about it.
Did a lot of like Nickelodeon shows, right?
Yeah. So I think
with Dan Schneider, who does have a controversy section on his Wikipedia page.
Yes,
a very long one.
Yes, he does. But we won't need to discuss that right now. So anyway, what I would love to see is kind of an animated series that is based on, that maybe incorporates the characters from Better Off Dead, One Crazy Summer, How I Got Into College, which was the third Steve Holland film from '89.
Who was in that one?
I think Lara Flynn Boyle might be the only name that I remember, and I'm not even 100% sure that she's in it.
She is. Corey Parker, Lara Flynn Boyle, Anthony Edwards. Charles Rocket's in that one from Earth Girls Are Easy.
Oh, right. Yes.
Brian Doyle Murray. Tom Kenny. Philip Baker Hall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Phil
I'm
Hartman,
thinking...
Nora Dunn. Sorry.
I'm thinking like an animated series that carries the spirit of these, and I would probably center it around like the One Crazy Summer world, because I think it's just the most I think it lends itself the most to a type of animated series where you would have these characters coming together in different things, because you could think of the the group like George, Hoops, Ak, Cassandra as kind of like a Scooby gang, and where they have to, all these different things are happening and they have to solve them, but that mean old Mr. Beckerstead and his obnoxious son Teddy are always like, I'm just imagining like an animated Teddy Beckerstead being like, I have to do my laps. Like there's that scene in One Crazy Summer where all the lobsters are in the pool and they attack Teddy and Cookie because apparently you can't see lobsters in your swimming pool.
So strange.
So strange. There's so many, like, I'm imagining like animated stork twins, and like, look, if you could get Bobcat Goldthwait to come back and do that character, that would be great. It's also probably not gonna happen ever, but if you could at least get his blessing to have like somebody else kind of take over the character and do that thing that he did. And I think of it in the style almost of, for some reason, as I was thinking about like what would the style of this be, the Clerks animated series came to mind.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And I was thinking like it would be a fun like classic style animated series, and it could be the type of thing that you would see on like Adult Swim, more, I guess, teen or college age geared thing, something to appeal, something that's not just like 80s nostalgia. Like, hey, we're going to make this like an 80s cartoon, and like, we're going to make this cartoon for the people who loved One Crazy Summer, but maybe I think this is how you get a new generation into these stories and these characters and this type of humor, because I don't think the live action comedy of this type works anymore.
Right.
I don't know. I just can't, it doesn't seem to fit in 2022.
Dan,
form.
I'm going to see if I can try to like take what you're saying and articulate it in a way that's kind of going through my mind, where in 1986, when you have characters acting in this particular type of way, in 2022, you have comedic actors of that age or like younger, representing the age that they probably were supposed to be, more like emulating the types of comedic actors from the 80s and 90s, people like Jim Carrey or to a certain extent Bobcat Goldthwait. I don't think that it's necessarily Bobcat Goldthwait, but people who act over the top and showy in a very different way rather than defining their own style of wacky. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I'm not sure that I know what you mean. I honestly, I can't think of any good examples of comedy that's done like this. Other than, and it's like the examples that I can think of are like Wet Hot Crazy Summer,
Wet Hot American Summer,
Wet Hot American Summer, Wet Hot American Summer. Not the movie necessarily, but the series.
Oh yeah,
the 10 years later series that they did. It's like
the first day of camp.
Oh, the first day. That's the one. That's the one that I'm thinking of. Sorry. But yeah, but it's not that.
Yeah.
And I think what I would want in a reboot is that type of humor, and in animated form, it can be surreal. And you can have things, you could have the radio call-in contest. I think like if you had a live action movie, today's audiences, especially the demographic that this is going for, which is basically like 10 to 13-year-old boys. I don't think that we live in a world of Rick and Morty. We live in a world of like, I'm trying to think of like what the live action comedies are that kids are into now. I can't think of anything.
I really don't know. Live action is a tough one. There's definitely, I feel like the age of like the Nickelodeon show has kind of passed a little bit. I don't know what there really is anymore for kids like in that 10 to 13 age range. Yeah.
Like SpongeBob, like they're like it's still like SpongeBob. They still talk about it. They do.
We sound like two old people right now. We're like, I don't even know what the kids are into these days.
Well, no, that's the thing is like I do, but I can't think of something like this that
no
that like in today's landscape, except for animated series like Rick and Morty might honestly be the closest thing that that generation has to this. So I think an animated, like, I don't want to say like the world of Steve Holland, because honestly, he might not even be like, I don't know that he would even necessarily need to be connected to it, but I don't think it would be hard to find writers who are first of all, writers and animators who were inspired by these movies, especially One Crazy Summer, Better Off Dead. So why wouldn't you like channel the energy into that? Take these like I think of all of the things that happen in One Crazy Summer and imagine it in this animated form, and it works for me. So
well, I mean, if you think about a lot of the characters in One Crazy Summer, they are cartoon characters. Teddy's a cartoon character. The Stork Twins are cartoon characters. Squid is a cartoon character. Our dog is a cartoon character.
George is a cartoon character.
George is, kind of where things start to blend into human, but he's very much a cartoon character.
And Akak's father.
Yeah.
Old Man Beckerstead.
Yeah, they're cartoon characters. The whole Beckerstead family. Grandma Calamari is a cartoon character. Like
totally.
The gas station attendants.
And the great thing is you could have all of these characters in it and it wouldn't, you could have actors emulate these performances without, like we could still have an Old Man Beckerstead without having William Hickey, and we could have one that we accept because if the voice is close enough, and it doesn't have to be someone doing William Hickey, they could be doing Burgess Meredith. And that's where it goes. And I thought about a lot of different possibilities here. And I mean, imagine, like, what if every season of this animated series ended in a regatta? Like, come on.
Dan, as you're talking about this, it's kind of making me wonder if this entire movie is kind of in the imagination animated world of Hoops McCann. This is his love story where he and Cassandra are really the only two characters that are not cartoon characters. And everybody else, I mean, even Ty, Jeremy Piven's character, and I say that Piven''S character, is very cartoon character like. He is, funny. So it's kind of makes you think if like it's kind of crossing over into his world of animation in the way that these characters are described. And what I was thinking of for this, because this was a really tough one for me because it's such a specific kind of movie, and it's one that is not well known. I think that it's one that, like, if you know it, you totally know it. You don't really forget it, but it's not one that most people are super familiar with, and it kind of is its own strange thing. And, a lot of people know Better Off Dead. And then once you tell them about this, maybe they'll be like, yeah, I remember something like that. Or if they're like just big John Cusack fans and they're completionists of his work, then they might recognize it. But it's so different from, a lot of his other work that it's just it's othered in a lot of ways. And I was thinking at one point of like, what if there could be a way to tell the story of this summer from different characters' perspectives, but it's just not that kind of movie. It's not that kind of story that people are so familiar with. It's not like you could do, what are you doing?
Sorry, but you described that and it just made me think Robert Altman's One Crazy Summer.
Oh, I'd watch the shit out of that.
Like remake it in the style of Nashville.
I would love that. That's great. No, but it's like no one's clamoring for like Joe Flaherty's character's point of view of like this entire summer. That's just not anything that anybody wants. So one thing that I was thinking of is like, well, what do you do with these movies that are so specific and so just like, they're pretty obscure. They're kind of like just on the border of like obscurity and mainstream. It's like it's got all of these people in it that could make it mainstream, but it's just too weird for it to be mainstream. And I know that there's a lot of other movies that are like this. And what if you did something with all of those types of movies that are just too weird to be mainstream? And I also put movies into that category like UHF. It's
Transylvania 65000.
Transylvania 5000. Yeah. Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis. It's got such a great, incredible cast. And then, something like UHF, it's got Fran Drescher. It does have Weird Al, who is just, forever amazing. But for some reason, they just like didn't transcend out of their like kind of cult status. And I feel like there needs to be some way to honor these, but not to like remake them, not to make a series out of them or to do like an animated thing of them, because I think that takes away from the things that make them all so unique. And that's what I was thinking, like a series of board games that are centered around the plots of these movies. And you have each person that, a bunch of the characters are like the pieces, and it's like an old school style board game, like Life or something like that, where, you move the spaces. It's, I feel like there's room for something like that in this. And, if it's one where there's like cards that you pick up, they reference the aspects of the movie. And to have like a series of these obscure movies in board game form, I think would appeal to the types of people who are probably into these movies. It's like a collector's item for people who are probably into collecting shit. And it's like you're kind of there for the weirdos to have fun with them. And, it's not something that would cost a lot of money to produce. And, I don't know. I think that there's a world for that. You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, I would be interested. I'm imagining it. I'm imagining like the boxes. For some reason, it's Transylvania 65000 is like the one that I'm imagining.
Transylvania 65000.
It's like if you want to have random shit in the background while you're on a Zoom call, like that's what you get. Like when CNN interviews me, that's what I want to have behind me. Is the Transylvania 65000 board game. So
yeah, and honestly, it's like the less complicated the better for something like that. They can be very formulaic, but just fun to play because you know that you're doing something having to do with this like weird, obscure cult movie that has so many things that should make it mainstream, but just aren't. And I don't know. This was a really hard one for me though, because I really tried to find a way to like have some sort of movie or TV thing, and nothing just really sat with me that well.
No. So I'm imagining. So would the One Crazy Summer board game have like a spinner or dice or a pop-o-matic bubble?
I think that it would be dice and cards. I think that would be the way to do it. I haven't like figured out exactly what the game, how it functions.
Oh no, I'm like, well, I imagine to win the game, you have to win the regatta.
Oh, well, I mean, that's just kind of where you are on the.
But is
on the
that's
board.
like, yeah, but that's where you are. So like maybe you get a card and it's like, oh, like you just put Teddy's who was it, Corvette,
Lamborghini or Ferrari or something.
Maserati.
Yeah. Congratulations. You just got you just chainsawed Teddy's car in half and got his engine.
Uh-oh, Dad needs you back at the gas station. Move back 5 spaces.
Yeah, uh-oh, you can't get out of the Godzilla suit. Yeah, stuff like that. Uh-oh, Teddy has challenged you to a basketball free throw competition.
Actually, I want like a twist on Monopoly could potentially work for
the Beckerstead Estates.
It's
Nantucket-opoly, which I'm sure exists.
Yeah.
They make all of those opolies.
Yep. Oh, all of them. Yeah, we were at Target the other day and with Chloe, and she was my 8-year-old daughter here, who was like, they make an Animal Crossing Monopoly.
Yeah, they have one for our hometown. They have one for everything. I'm sure that the opoly structure is fair use. So that's domain. That's why you just see everything.
Yeah. So yeah, a One Crazy Summer opoly, but combining something like that, and like you could buy the Storks gas station, you could buy the movie, you could invest in the movie.
And
was it Foam? Is that what it's called?
Was it called Foam? I can't
Foam
remember.
2 or something like that. There's a lot of fun. There's the place where the Dewdrop Inn.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, like, oh, you pick a card, like, congratulations, you raised $5,000 from your concert at the Dewdrop Inn.
Yeah.
The bank can't foreclose.
Yeah.
No, it sounds like fun. Sorry, it's like to get into these ideas, I have to kind of imagine what it would be like, and I have to see it. And now,
Dan, clear your mind for a second. I come to your house. In my hand is a One Crazy Summer board game. How quickly until we are playing that?
We're already playing it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't even have to know what the gameplay is like or anything about it. You know everything you need to know.
Oh no, I like imagining the possibilities.
Sure, but the fact that it even would exist at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
It's the type of thing I would see at a mall and probably never buy. So,
really, you think that? Because I would see it and I'd be like, I've got to get that for Dan.
Well, yeah, that's why I wouldn't buy it, because you would probably.
Because I would get it for you.
Yeah, it's the type of thing where I'm like, this board game or diapers for the baby.
I don't understand why you can't get both.
You know what? You're right. Okay.
So, to our dear listeners, if you have seen One Crazy Summer and you have an idea for it, shoot us an email, ruinchildhoodspod@gmail.com. If you have not seen it, you got to check it out. What is it streaming on? Was it on Stars?
It was on Stars, and if you have Canopy via your local public library, a free streaming service with your library card, it is, or at least was, streaming on Canopy as of a few days ago. So if you have to choose between a beloved board game and a Stars subscription, but you want to watch One Crazy Summer, have no fear. You can check it out on Canopy.
Yeah, it's a really fun movie. It's completely wacky. Don't take it too seriously and just enjoy yourself. But
good summer movie.
Yeah, we encourage you all to let us know your thoughts. ruinchildhoodspot@gmail.com. All of our socials and all that kind of stuff is in our episode description on a link tree. And Dan, do you want to tell everybody what we are covering on our next episode?
Yeah, so we're, going to kind of keep going with summer movies, and not necessarily movies about summer, but movies that came out during the summer blockbuster season. This was a movie that came out during the 1994 summer movie season, which was jam-packed with blockbuster hits And this one was a highly anticipated movie that came out that summer, directed by Mike Nichols, starring Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer, James Spader, Kate Nelligan, Christopher Plummer. It is Wolf. So, and we're going to do something a little fun with this, because I think our main focus is going to be Wolf, 1994's Wolf. But we're also going to, definitely mention some other, because it joins the genre of the werewolf film. And we're going to talk about some other ones. Most notably the 2010 remake of The Wolfman. Starring Benicio del Toro, Emily Blunt, Anthony Hopkins.
Another one that I remember being highly anticipated.
This one wasn't a summer movie, though.
Did I say summer movie? I just said highly anticipated. I remember there being hype around it.
It was hype around it, I think, because it was like rumored for a long time, and like it was going to happen because it was like Benicio del Toro. Of course, we have to do a Wolfman movie.
Yeah. He was the Wolfman in Big Top Pee-wee.
Yeah, dog-faced boy.
Dog-faced boy.
But same thing. It was the screen test for this Wolfman movie, directed by Joe Johnston, and Hugo Weaving also.
All right.
So
can't wait.
So we'll talk about that. I'm sure American Werewolf in London will come up. What are your favorite werewolf movies? Email us at ruinedchildhoodspod@gmail.com. Let us know what your favorite werewolf flicks are, and we'll get them in there.
I'll tell you this, Dan. In my favorite werewolf movie, the Wolfman's got nards. I'll tell you that much. Well, Dan, as you are racing against the boat in the regatta, I wish you a good journey.
Good journey.